everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on Viewpoint, your studio program on Osrc television. I am Akintunde Akinshimola. Well, without doubt, Nigeria has been challenged by the insurgency of Islamic terrorists for close to 2 decades now. Successive administrations have tried in various ways, kinetic, caustic, and moral suasions to combat them with varying degrees of successes and failures. Though the job has not been finished, the insurgents have been pushed back significantly in recent times, as there have been reports of neutralization of several of the new terrorist commanders. But the question is, who are these terrorists? What is their goal and what is their target? Well, they are Islamic terrorist group operating in Nigeria without goal, and rather whose goal is to establish a worldwide caliphate, a quasi-universal government anchored on the strictest form of Sharia. To this effect, they denounce not only Christianity and other non-Muslim faith, but also Shia Islam, liberal Sunni Islam, as well as Western common and secular government institutions and cultures. They operate not only in Nigeria, they are in Chad, they are in Niger, Mali, and of course in the Chad Basin, as well as in northern Cameroon. Now, the United States, through their president Donald Trump, has suggested that the various killings in Nigeria and others is a Christian genocide, and that the federal government is not doing anything about it. Unarguably, in the fight against banditry, kidnappings, and jihadists, there have been difficulties, but successive administrations have demonstrated commitment to the pushback. So that's our major talking point on Viewpoint today, as I'm being joined by my panel of discussants. I call them experts because whatever you throw at them, they give it to you with their own perspective. So, without much ado, let me welcome on board Mr. Tokpe Okewu. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good evening, and it's nice having me around again this beautiful Monday evening.
Also in the studio, I have the man I call, well, the only learned person as far as this facility is concerned at the moment. Mr. Felix Alonge, thank you so much for joining me.
It's okay, thank you, and I appreciate you having me again this evening. God bless.
Okay, I say he is a thoroughbred, again, he's an historian, of course, and a lawyer. Okay, let's start from here. Shall we trace the history of violence in Nigeria? Killings here and there. We have kidnappings here and there in the southern part of the country, in the Middle Belt, killings in the Middle Belt, Plateau and Benue State. Of course, jihadists. They've been around for quite a while. We call them Boko Haram in Yobe. Well, not pronounced in Yobe, but in Borno State. And lately, banditry in Katsina, in Sokoto, in the northwestern part of the country. But shall we say that the killings are targeted at Christians?
Well, let me just say that life is very, very important to God. And even a fetus is important to God.
That is the unborn child.
Unborn child. So, death by any means from the hand of another man is not justifiable. Let me just tell you, sorry, I'm going biblical this time. It says that the Bible says an eye for an eye. Whoever kills on the same measure, that person should also suffer.
As in the Old Testament.
Yes. That is, God does not allow anybody to be killed by another person unless he is an executioner. But what do we have in recent time? We have people killing another for different purposes. For instance, when we had Boko Haram in the northeast, part of northeast, the federal government tried to curb them, and eventually they transformed to Nukurawa, different forms of jihadists, or what do we call themselves. But the question is, who are their targets? They went to mosque and killed. And those people they killed who are in the mosque are not
Christians.
Now, what is happening in the North Central, Plateau, Benue, Taraba, is not really. Those states, these three states, are predominantly Christians, and those people that used to come are fighting over land, grazing routes. So sometimes it may not have to do with which religion do you belong. It is who are those occupying the land. So now, but because those people stay there in Benue, in fact, their governor is a Reverend Father.
Yes.
In Plateau, Ditto, Christian. So those areas, North Central, are occupied, who are farmers, are predominantly Christian. So any killing that takes place there, people will know that if 10 people are killed, there is likelihood of 8 being Christian. But it's not that the killing,
Not deliberate.
targeted at Christian, but because that is the area, that's their catchment. They are predominantly living in these states. So that is why I think the killing has been given religious coloration. I don't think it has to do with religion. It has to do with economy. Once you control the land, you control the resources. You'll be able to you'll be able to graze there if you are harder, or you'll be able to exploit mineral resources like gold and others if you control the land. Once you can drive away the occupants. So that is what I see happening in the North Central states.
Mr. Alonge, your perspective?
Thank you. The issue of violence is part of life. But what is the most important is the capacity to engage in conflict resolution. It is the mandate of every government in a country to ensure that there's a security of life and property. But the dimension in which you have terrorism and violence by different sects, particularly religious sects, the Boko Haram and the other sects, sin education as a sin. And they believe that the only way to do that is to propagate their own religious faith, which is Islamic religion. But the way they have gone about it, has been in a deadly manner, which had actually resulted to the loss of a lot of lives and destruction of property across the breadth of Nigeria. We had our own bitter experience in Ondo State, and then when there is a threat or an attack in a particular community, the population normally comprises of different groups of people and different people with different faiths, and the current hulabaloo in terms of trying to designate Nigeria as a country in which there's genocidal activity against the Christians, I think is very, very uncharitable by America, particularly Trump. We know a lot of Christians have been lost their lives in the northern part of the country and even in those states during the attack in that church in war, St. Paul's Church. But the way Trump is trying to portray it is having some other implications, just to promote American interest and to make sure that Africa, and particularly Nigeria, is not having an emancipation from their imperialist tendencies. It's another way of finding through the back door to bring about neocolonialism, because we are gradually emerging from economic crunches that we are facing. Why is America just coming up at this material time? Because all references being made are before this present administration. What happened wasn't good enough, seen to the extermination of a lot of lives in Nigeria, but trying to refer to a particular set of religious set being the target. That is my quarrel, because on the statistical base, when we even look at the figures, and if there is thorough calculation and look at it, the Muslims are like to be in a higher proportion. But the way Christians are being slaughtered in the process of exterminating them, it was very cruel, very cruel, because we saw some of this in social media, and it wasn't good at all. But what I'm trying to say is that there's genocidal activity. When you say genocide, that is a deliberate attempt to exterminate a particular group, yes. A particular set. If you say there's criminal activities to the state of killing some people in Nigeria, particularly Christians, but saying that there's genocide against Christians in Nigeria for me it's not acceptable. It's very uncharitable. It's a strong word. It's too strong. Just to condemn Nigeria. And when you look at it, since Trump who is trying to make himself the policeman of the whole world, which country, even the so-called big countries of the world, that actually commented in a negative way, they are trying to use him as a means of to intimidate Nigeria, so that they are on a mission, the mission for them to recolonize the third world country, particularly the African countries.
Mr. Akewo is trying to interject now.
Because I look at it,
having established that it is not targeted, it's not a deliberate attempt to wipe out the Christian sect. So why has Donald Trump come to term or designate Nigeria as an unsafe haven for Christians?
This is not the first time we are seeing this kind of a thing. UK gave what we call travel advisor some months ago. That is, the British citizens should not get to some places.
No, it has always been like that. But
that's what I'm saying.
This is an accusation of genocide.
This is what I'm saying. I'm just laying the foundation.
Yes.
What I said is that if you look at area like Plateau, Benue, Taraba, those staying there are predominantly Christians, not Muslims. And where do we have killings taking place? It's not only limited to those states. It's also in the parts of Borno,
Zamfara,
Yobe, and Zamfara. Zamfara, we know it's because of God.
Yes.
In the north central, it's because of
Katsina,
land.
Yes.
So now, what we agreed on is that probably they didn't get enough information on what is happening in Nigeria. That is, the killings are not limited to north central. That is also happening in the northeast, where predominantly they are also Muslims. But why I disagree with Barrister Longe is that he said they have a mission. What mission? What do we have that America is converting?
What America is today was not overnight. Whether anybody likes it or not, the rate at which Nigeria is coming out gradually is in the positive direction.
So how
Well, the way it affects America is that,
let me tell you, a child that is born in a day does not work on the same day. I get it takes a process for him to work. You know, Nigeria is the big brother in Africa. It's the voice of the third world nations. The third world is the voice for the black race. If when you look at, you know, most of these things has economic perspective, has the political implication.
So what's special about
the economic implication is that, see from the perspective of, you know, what Dangote has been able to do now, is trying to ensure that there is economic independence in terms of petroleum resources.
This is company owned by an individual.
Let me tell you,
it's not owned by government.
Let me just tell something.
It's a drop in the ocean.
It's a drop in the ocean.
It's only a drop in the ocean. It's only a drop in the ocean.
We have 4 refineries.
It's the largest. It's the largest in the whole world. If government has no business in business. If you have an individual who is able to do what government cannot do, and an individual is part of the segment of the society, at least as in the petroleum product that have to pay 50%. America is not happy about it.
I want to ask a question. If you don't know, how many liters of fuel are we importing from the US? We are not, when it comes to oil, we are not partners. We are not partners. Listen,
some people are, we have some investors or importers that are.
What I'm saying is that it is costlier to import from the US than Europe. And Europe is closer. So if it were to be Europe now that is complaining, who will say because of the tariff that have not even taken so what I'm saying, sir, what I'm telling you, Nigeria and US are not really trade partners. We are not really trade partners.
Let me just tell you, Nigeria and America they are the largest trade partners.
The only thing I can say is that Venezuela oil, Nigeria's oil, they are unique, and Trump has been targeting Venezuela, now putting pressure on Nigeria. I want to believe that it's just a coincidence.
It's not a coincidence.
We are not close. We are not.
As long as
if you are traveling by sea, you can't import fuel by air. We are traveling. We are talking about 7 weeks to 2 months compared to
South America.
Europe.
Yes, Europe.
That is
proximity.
Proximity. So let me just correct that insinuation. Let me tell you, sir.
Economic makes it to be subservient.
We don't have something that US can convert. Let me just tell you something.
Everything is a process.
Our leaders must do certain things.
Exactly.
Must do the necessary things.
Have we been doing enough to curb kidnapping, banditry?
I want to tell you something, sir. If you maybe your mind is not averse to it, we are just big brother by name.
No.
And I will tell you.
No, I don't accept.
There are 4 major telecom companies in Nigeria. How many are owned by Nigeria? 1 out of 4, or others. Only Glo is owned by Nigeria. That is one.
But I think Nigeria has the best GDP, not GNP, gross national product.
Are you getting it now? Now, let us look at.
No, that's an index. That's an index to know how big we are.
Yes, let me just tell you something. When you look at it, I've talked about telecom. What of our lights?
But hold on, the aggregate is the gross.
When you are looking at look at our league. Thank God you are look at our league compared to South Africa. There was a case. There was a study that I attended the lecture. Is Nigeria versus South Africa, battle for continental leadership. We compared it. How many this thing do we generate? What do we call it? Energy from our national grid. We are not even up to 7,000, whereas South Africa is generating about 40.
Okay, now let's go.
So when you look at it, when you look at the totality, even military wise,
let's go back.
Military wise, what do we have? Do we produce military hardware? So we cannot say US has no business.
Okay, let's go back. Let's get back to the issue.
Listen, let me just complete this line of thought. We don't have anything that we still run to them for military hardware. We run to them. Our naira is denominated after that. So
but
what do we have?
Let me tell you, our reputation is about a leadership. America was not like this under Joe Biden. It is the style of leadership of Trump that is now intoxicating America, making herself the policeman of the whole world.
Okay, now it has always been.
Okay,
this is a country that went to another country and killed what's the name of the man?
Gaddafi.
Not Gaddafi, not only Gaddafi. I'm talking of this terrorist that was killed in Philistine.
Okay, Osama bin Laden.
In Pakistan. They tracked down
in the time of Obama.
Sir, what we are saying is that we are
talking about this material time. We are talking about
politics.
Okay,
Nigeria must do the right thing.
Now, before we do the right thing, what we are talking about, how cool a reasonable person, if not because something is actually wrong with Trump, that he may likely engage in military action against Nigeria. Nigeria is a sovereign nation.
No, they didn't really say Nigeria per se. He said the Islamic. I don't think he said.
So if that many of us, we don't actually read these things. We just look at the headline. It was in the social media, not through the chief press secretary to Donald Trump, and there are a lot of parody accounts on X platform or even on Facebook, and anybody can just it's parody.
You have to authority to threaten us.
Okay, Mr. Okewu have said that we are not doing the right thing. What are those right things that we are not doing?
Thank you very much. What is the business of government? Is to protect lives and properties. Now, we said, thank God we raised this issue last week when we discussed about the rate at which military officers, the top hierarchy, were being
turned over.
Yes. It made it difficult for those with experience to last. Last week, there was Southwest Conference where they had meeting. I saw retired soldiers. They are still in their late 50s.
Retired soldiers?
Yes, Olomishakin, I should not be 60. Lawa, that's Admiral, was maybe in his late 50s. But these are the people that are supposed to be in the military. But because of high turnover of officers, these people are now retired with all their perks of office. So what I'm saying is that we should do the right thing. One, by making sure that our lives are protected by those people that are in charge of our lives. Because after God, it is the government. So everybody will run to government. And what do you call government? The Attorney General's office and the security agencies. We run to them. So they should show sign that they are serious. They are serious about tackling insecurity. Thank God we had the governor that was always talking about insecurity, late Akeredolu. Even if he was not the chief security officer in
Nigeria,
yes, he will be complaining. Do the right thing. So what we need to do is to do the right thing. You know what Trump said is immaterial because he expressed his own mind. Now, if I were to be in government, I would have said, okay, we have noted your complaint and we are going to work towards it. Not trying to say US is covetous of our. What do we do? We have 4 refineries. None is working. Only one person.
The issue of refinery has nothing to do.
We have this depend on them.
This Nigeria is a country of
denominate our money through their currency. Our people want to run there. So how many Americans are you seeing coming to Nigeria?
Mr. Alunge,
Yeah.
what's the best way to respond to Donald Trump's allegation, his accusation that Nigeria, Christian killing here and there? How do you want the federal government to tackle this issue?
It's not the issue of federal government alone. This is the period at which every Nigerian to display spirit of patriotism and nationalism, the love of this nation.
How do we do that?
What we do at this material time is that we must be ready to give advice and give support. Don't let us allow political coloration to becloud our sense of judgment.
The kind of support from
what Donald Trump is a pronouncement in recent times that start to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Concern in what sense? What is making reference to? You should also appreciate the effort of Nigerian leaders at this material time. Okay. That because all the incidences that I referred to that made American to Nigeria, there's genocide activity in Nigeria happened not under this regime. America should be ready to cooperate and support Nigeria. So, this is what is actually happening. There's extermination of a larger proportion of Christians.
Maybe you didn't get what I was trying to say. Now, this requires diplomacy, whether we like it. If you want to survive it. What I'm saying is that, what do we do? How do we tackle this?
There must be interface between the two governments.
That's where we start.
There must be gentle, quiet diplomacy or gentle diplomacy.
Yes.
We should not engage in aggression or bitterness or criticisms against America. What Donald Trump has sent, it should be noted, and all relevant stakeholders who know so much about diplomatic tactics to be engaged at this particular time, not looking at from the perspective of party in government. The major stakeholders who are so vast in international relations and diplomacy, the Bolaji came of this world, and they should be involved.
So many of them.
For them to talk at least.
Do we have an ambassador to the US at the moment?
We should.
The ambassador has not been appointed. That's one of those things that at that particular level. So that's one of the things the president has done.
It's high time we got one, even if it's to appoint an ambassador to the US at this particular time.
At least there must be interface.
Yes.
There must be bilateral engagement, multilateral engagement, at least seeking cooperation from ECOWAS, from the African Union, and even the UN at this material time to solve this particular problem, because we cannot afford not to be a friend of America, because we need America in so many areas. We still need assistance. But it is just because we are not actually, if Nigeria is on its own, if we are so committed, the Asian tigers, they close their borders against the super nations. And within a period of 5 years, they made it. But such commitment is not in our spirit.
On the flip side of the coin, now for Chad, on the day that United States of America said it was not going to issue visas to Chadians, the government called bluff of the US. Today, the Chadian president has closed the border with Nigeria. Now, let's look at it from the other side. Nigerian government, federal government, let's do the right thing. At the same time, call the bluff of the US.
That's what I said. Can we afford it?
Why can't we afford it?
Let me ask.
What is so special that we?
I asked a question. Do we produce our own military hardware? The alternative is to gravitate towards Russia or China, and we know the implications.
What are the implications?
The implications is that UK, US, France, and the other world powers will be against us.
Is the US don't befriending China today?
Are you getting my? Do we have the where with
So
that.
it's a jigsaw puzzle.
Yes, thank you very much. We don't have the capacity for now. What we have in Nigeria, we have the population. But can we really feed ourselves? Do we clothe ourselves? Do we produce our own cars? Do we generate our own electricity that can we have? Last week people still complain that
Rome is not beating a day, my brother.
But have we left Egypt?
Rome is
have
not
we
beating
left
a day.
Egypt? Yes, Rome was not built in a day.
We are making progress. We are making progress.
If you have left, I'm not saying we are not talking about whether progress is being made or not. That you come here is a progress. That we are making some moves, but is this progress commensurate with? Is it as beautiful as average citizen we want it to be? We know that our expectations are always high, but a situation where government will buy 160 million worth of cars for lawmakers, and average person on the street cannot do whatever, cannot even afford keke. Maruwa is about 4 million. Keke, Napep, or this keke is about 4 million, and you want people to be happy seeing people riding 160 million naira worth government money. So when you look at this, you know that when you say let us cooperate, that means you must sacrifice as a leader. Leaders cannot be living ostentatious life and expect citizens to cooperate. When you say as a father in the house, thank God we are all fathers, you say there is no food though, and you bought chicken, you bought
eating it alone.
I say, my children, please
go eat garri.
No, be praying, no. Please check this water. They won't be happy with the father. So the government must first of all know the situation of things on ground, and when they are living within their means, then the citizens know our leaders are actually feeling our pains.
Yes.
Then they will support the government. But a situation where the government, people in government are living very ostentatious life. Somebody you know that you were both drinking beer of 1,000 naira, start drinking champagne of 50,000 naira, and instead you please manage, be praying that the government, they will not be happy with you.
Okay, now let's look at it from this end. I'm aware that BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and the rest, have been beckoning Nigeria, come join us. Now that we don't belong to the US fold, France, just as he mentioned, Mr. Kewo mentioned, do you think it is high time we join, so that if we have any problem, China will be there to support us, Russia will also be there to support us?
Relationship with other nations can be bilateral, it can be multilateral. And I don't see any harm joining the BRICS nation.
You don't see any harm?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you don't put your eggs in the same basket. When America now discovered that China is not a big threat, America has no choice to find ways and means to become friend of China. If you don't make yourself a threat, a force to be reckoned with, other forces will oppress you. You have to tell your own story. You have to display your own capacity. And that is what we have to do at this material time. That, like what I said, that every hands must be on deck. That how do we have a new nation in which there will be development in all sectors of the national economy. And that is what is actually, and we need to tap benefits or opportunities from other nations of the world for us to make progress. If America is still trying to seek for support from other nations, why not Nigeria? Let me tell you, America is the most indebted nation in the world to the World Bank. The debt of America today in the World Bank is unquantifiable. And let me even tell you, America and all these European nations, see the social media, you see, many of the people are still living in slums. And the cost of things, the politicians are using those in government, it is just about the forces and demand, price mechanism. And the prices of items in Nigeria are not different from what is happening in other parts of the world. Dollarization of our naira is a big problem for us. And for allowing Dangote to take the crude oil in our own currency, naira, is also a big threat to other other countries, because they believe that sell the crude oil to Dangote in dollar, so that at the end of the day it will be promoting the national economy and be affecting their own local economy. But what I'm trying to say in the first is that this is the time in which let's forget issue of politics and come to the round table and have all the major stakeholders. This nation must progress. We must have a new Nigeria.
So. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back shortly on Viewpoint. Stay with us.
There's a time Nigeria wanted to denominate its currency after China.
Welcome back to Viewpoint, coming to you live on Osrc television. I want to change gear and then move to another area. It all happened today. Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri formally defected to the ruling All Progressive Congress APC. Thousands of supporters of the governor and his new party from all 8 local government areas graced the occasion in Yenagoa, the state capital. Diri, who resigned from the People's Democratic Party recently, formally put speculation to the rest by joining APC. Well, Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa was among those at the state capital to grace the event. Now, Mr. Okewo, governors at one time or the other have left their party to join other parties. Governor Mimiko, at the time he was in LP Labour Party, he joined PDP. It was seamless, more or less. But the situation in Bayelsa is quite different. Now, the deputy governor, Lawrence Evrajo, has refused to join APC. He has been threatened to be impeached. He approached the court of law, and the court of law said, this one has not done anything. You can't go ahead with this impeachment. So, what is the implication of this?
You see, let me correct something. Mimiko joined PDP from Labour. You remember that he had problem with his deputy, Baba Alanusi has left for APC before him. So it was a real problem. Talk of war. Eventually, Baba was impeached. The case was in court until the tenure ended, and thank God he was able to get a judgment at appeal court, and the state governor Litakedo said that there's no point to pursue this case higher at the Supreme Court. So it paid him all his entitlements. You see, what I have always said, that in Nigeria, defecting from one party to another has been something common. That was why we had it. Thank God Barcelona is older than us. There was something we call cross-carpeting in those days. Now it's now defection from one party to another. But the question is, does it guarantee victory? No. For the person, unless you do well. And I've given an example of Ondo states. Mimiko won an election until he defected to PDP, and there was crisis between PDP Basibe and PDP Konigba, and it cost him
Across the party, yes.
Across the party victory in subsequent election. Ben Ayade,
Cross River,
defected from PDP to APC as a sitting governor. He contested under APC for Senate and lost. We have that of Omogunwa in Ondo South. He was in PDP when he won the election. He went to APC. They gave him the ticket.
So what is likely to happen to the deputy governor quickly?
Well, it is still in the womb of time. You know that state, forget the people who are the leaders. A general without troop,
lieutenants,
is if you are a leader and nobody is following you, you are just taking a stroll.
Okay, let me find out from Mr. Alunge now. Where do we place Goodluck Jonathan in all this? Revered, the leader of PDP, more or less in that state, and his lieutenants, some of them have left for the ruling party.
Like what you have said, based on a constitution, you have right of association. And you are in politics, one, personal interest. Secondary, public interest. But as far as Nigeria is concerned, self-interest, personal interest overrides public interest. And it is just unfortunate that the way politics is being played in Nigeria is not helping the nation to develop, and just because of the constitutional provision. Yes, because the condition for defection can easily be abused. But this time around, people are saying that the defection will not the public that it is the opposition against the APC, the Nigerian population, Nigerian people against the APC. It is a big mistake, because politics is about structure, and structure are being manned by people. You don't have structure. You are talking about PDP making the mistake, ADC made the mistake. Election is going to be between Nigerian people and the APC. They are getting it wrong, because politics is about mobilization, membership drive. Okay, because if you embark on membership drive, you'll be able to get the sensible number for which you have to seek for votes for us, for you to win, so as to form government.
We expect Taraba to join suit.
Because of our time, because of our time, on the 8th of this month, this weekend, we have the election in Anambra State. So what do you foresee? Just look into your crystal ball and tell me, you see Professor Soludo Chukwuma coming back?
Well, the answer is still in the womb of time. But let me tell you that something happened that's funny.
30 seconds, please.
The minister, wife of late Ojukwu, attended Abga rally and is an appointee. She's an appointee of Mr. President, who is an APC member. What does that signify? So, well, I don't want to forecast.
30 seconds.
Yeah, the progressives at state level, they are uniting. The progressives, so-called, at the national level, are uniting. And for me, Soludo has little or no problem as far as election for 8th of November is concerned. Yes, there's realignment of. You may not align on the basis of a party, but you may align on the basis of a philosophy. And with that,
in Nigeria, there's no.
Anyway, whatever happens, that's the first real test for the new INEC chairman, Professor Joash Ambukiton. We wish all of them the best. We wish all the candidates in Anambra State the best. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining me, Mr. Okay, well, thank you so much.
It's nice having me again, and next week will be another time to discuss Nigeria.
Mr. Alunge, thank you as well.
I appreciate it. God bless.
All right, that will do as far as the show is concerned. Thank you so much for being there as always. The program will be back same time next week. On behalf of everyone here, my name is Akintunde Akinshimola. Good evening.
long as there are no personal amendment over formation of political party.
Ìtàkìṣe mọ́là. 5 minutes to come and sit down.